Welcome to ChatGPT prompting to streamline H5P development. This is now the first part of a two-part set of webinars. When I started, I just thought that I would be just doing H5P efficiencies. But then when I looked into it, next week we'll be looking at Moodle quizzes, Quizlet, Kahoot, and something else I can't remember, but will be and maybe a more complex H5P. But what I would like to do with you, the Avenue community, is I'm assuming that most of you are already H5P folks, dabbling in AI or experts in AI, and you want to see just this little sort of a way to make your development a little easier with AI. You know, when you try to make things easier with AI, they also get more complicated in different ways. So this is just my suggestion to you to integrate HI. Did I say HI? AI into your development while the actual real developers out there on the planet making the great tools like Johnny from Rashi AI to refine their tools and make them beautifully easy, seamless, and producing great content for us all. So in the meantime, we can try using their tools with our traditional methods and add a little bit of our own ChatGPT prompting to make AI to help us make our own learning objects. Okie dokie. All right, so I'd like to, because it's more of a practical session, and I have given you the handout, and I'm going to go walk through the results through that sample course. Can we just try not to have questions till the end? I know you will have questions, and most likely a lot of them I'll be able to address them in the next session if they're complex. But I'd like to get the flow going, because I know if we have a lot of questions and discussion throughout the session, we're not going to get through the demos. Okay. Participate if you wish. You can actually go in and open up ChatGPT or whatever AI tool you use, and H5P on Moodle if you wish. But try not to stop me and say, hey, I did this, but this didn't happen. We don't have time for that. The handout should be in your email tray. Okay, so poll number 1. All right, so you should be able to see this. I just want to know quickly, what's your professional AI experience? You've used it with your instruction, you've used it with your materials preparation, and or you use it with your instruction and materials preparation, or you don't use it at all. AI. Really, I'm talking about ChatGPT, really, I think, generally. And you don't have to answer if you don't want to, it's fine. And I see some of you have jumped ahead, like good students, and you've looked at the next poll question, which is, what is your H5P experience? You use it with your instruction, you use it to produce materials, or you use it for both, or you don't use it at all. So you could do poll number 1 and poll number 2. And I'd let you, there's a 3 and 4 down there that I couldn't figure out how to delete. So I apologize for that. I had it set up and I lost it. I must have hit something. I don't know. I was trying to cheat and go ahead and see what's going to be on Coronation Street tonight, but double tasking, you know. Okay, everybody. So it appears that most of you are materials producers, hopefully in the link sector. And you are producing, some of you, a fifth of you are producing and using it. But a lot of you seem to be people using AI to produce materials. And not so many with H5P, because it is a stage 4 kind of, stage 3, stage 4 kind of thing. Oh, no, yeah, a lot of you use it. Holy cow. So a lot of you are producers out there, which is the perfect audience for this webinar. Okay, you can see a lot of you are producers. Can you see the results, folks? Yeah. All right. I'll use that later on. But thank you for showing up and being educational developers of some sort. Okay, so today we're going to use ChatGPT prompts. I know there's other tools, but I'm just using that for simplicity. And we're going to input the output of those prompts into an H5P text editor to produce a single choice set summary question, drag the words, and a question set with multiple choice questions only. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to do about 7 things next week with, Moodle quiz, Quizlet, more H5P, and Google Forms. So, but today we're going to limit ourselves to these so we get in the groove. All right, the problem with digital materials creation at the moment, H5P and Moodle, the form-based editing that we are traditionally using is very slow. Like if you've made a lot of H5Ps, it's a killer, right? You got to drink about 3 buckets of tea and a lot of clicking and a lot of tabbing. So it's actually not fun. When I first came into H5P, I was kind of shocked that they didn't allow for a more fluid way to put things in. And then I realized that they did, but I was a bit slow. It took me 7 years to figure it out. But anyway, that's the form-based editing that we all know and are using is a bit of a killer. So the other thing you have to worry about is AI results are not really dependable. Okay, so my big fat example is we've been working on these books for the new Can Avenue server. We started off with this glee that we're going to produce 1 million of them using AI, and it was going to be beautiful, and we're going to win a Pulitzer Prize and all that. But after a couple, we just like, oh my goodness, we thought, no, we're just going to scrap AI and we're going to make the books manually. Actually, AI has really helped us with the imagery, saved us a lot of money and so much time, and really like for the copyright and all that, it's been quite simple until we get sued in the future, but that's another story. Prompting for AI is very complex. I'm sure all of you have found that out. You think you're just going to put something in and the results aren't right, and then you got to refine and refine and refine. I'm going to give you, I think, 4 or 5 prompts today that hopefully will start you off on your way, and next week as well, more of them. Language levels are not accurate as one would expect, especially with the CLBs. I don't ever prompt for CLB. Normally, I prompt for Cepher levels. This technique we're using today is you have to produce code through AI, and don't worry about that. This is not that technical for us, the level we're going to use it. And then you're going to paste it into a text entry box in H5P. I'm sure that a lot of you have seen them and kind of ignored them because I was doing that for a long time. Okay, so in H5P came out around 2016. I, like some others like myself, thought it was good, revolutionize everything. In a way it has, but it hasn't really taken, it wasn't the barn burner that we thought it was going to be, but still a lot of people use it. We take digital text, and the tripping point here is, or the light bulb is, don't take the text, you generate code and use the code. So you can use this text code, and you'll see in quiz construction through Moodle, Google Forms, and H5P. So AI is the new disruptor, and to get AI to work for you, you have to be a good prompter or prompt as well as you can. All right, so in H5P, like I said, it only works with H5 features with a text entry option. And I'm not sure if you've even noticed this before when you're creating. So this is creating the form for creating a question set. And usually you're on default here, and you click here and say true, false, and then you type in the answer and the prompt, and then true, false. Then you do the next question, and it couldn't be a drag the words and all that stuff, like you just one form at a time. But if you click on textual,
Now,
I had everything set up and I lost my connection and I came back and look what happened. Okay, here we go. Just so that you see.
No, good, yeah.
There we go. We're all polling and we're all happy. We're going to talk about these 4 kinds of H5Ps. Holy cow. Cheyenne, be less shy next time. Tell me earlier. God, is my face red? Okay.
We can see. We are now focusing on the.
Okay, good. Thank God. Okay,
we didn't want to interrupt you because you said no questions.
Oh my God, you're good students. I sincerely apologize. So here's the materials creation. Most of all of this information is actually in the handout as well. That's no excuse though. Okay, so form editing is no fun. Prompting is key, and this is what you'll see with H5P, right? You'll see here's the form. Normally you see default. If you click on textual, you will see the option boxes, and they're different for each one because H5P is a bit of a Frankenstein, to be honest with you, because different teams develop different objects, right? It's never the same team. So this one here, it says textual. So here you would just paste the code that's generated by ChatGPT in here. And here is another one that's not as fancy, but there's another way to paste code. And we'll see if these examples live as we go through. While you're going through these, you'll notice, especially when you're using like Moodle or different receivers of this text code from AI, in these text box, sometimes they provide you more options. Like, for example, this one here is drag the words. And you can see it says droppable words are added with an asterisk in front and behind the correct word phrase. You may add a textual tip using a colon from the tip in front of the tip. Blah, blah, blah. And they give you an example. And here's more information. So what we're going to do today is we're going to make one of these. And what we're going to do is use this information and put it into the prompt, making a stronger quiz or question, right? So you just don't make a quiz and say, we want a quiz about Saskatchewan, the history of Coca-Cola consumption, 1978 to 1990. We're going to put all sorts of things in there, like hints and tips and feedback and all that stuff. So we're going to be doing that. Yeah. We've already talked about this. Slow. Prompting is complex. Form-based editing is slow. So let's just try this text entry technique. Now, at this point, I've already sent this to you, but if you need to go to this course here, the model course, you can either go with QR code or you can go with this link. I think I sent it to you in an email. And what I'd like to do is go there with you. And if you don't want to go there, that's fine. Let's just go with me then, if you can watch it on my screen. And this is what we're going to make today. Okay, so we're going to make a basic prompt with no code. So this is what happens to a lot of people when they try this on their own. And this is what the quiz will look like. This is a quiz generated with no code in AI. So you see here, this is a great question. The answer, I got it. And then you go to the next question. Look at that question. And here's the answer. I got it. Then you go to the next one. Here's a question. I just can't lose. Oh, I can actually, see? But you see all the different questions? So if you don't put code in and you put strict text in, it comes up with gobbledygook. All right? So the next one is tourism in Niagara Falls, a single choice set. Do you know what I mean by when I say a single choice set? It's a really cool H5P feature that you can make like a quiz, basically multiple choice, one answer, and the students don't have to say submit or check. It just goes on its little timing, and it goes from one question to another, to another, to another, and then they are given the results, right? And here's an example. So you've seen this before. Popular, climbing the falls, oops. And then depending on the timing on all that, it'll slide over. Which side of the falls is known for large casino and hotels? I think the Canadian side. Yep, I got that. What can you find at Niagara Falls State Park? Wild animals. Oh, shoot, no. And then there's another question. So I generated that content. No, ChatGPT generated that content and the code to quickly paste into H5P to create this question, the single choice set example, right? Now, imagine if you have a task, and some of us do, and some of us will, where you have to maybe set up one of these single choices for every topic or whatever in a year-long course or whatever. And what you can do is you can use AI to generate these. You can edit it while it's in its code, or you can edit it back when it's already in, you push it into H5P, just to make sure that it doesn't say, Niagara Falls is made of ice cream or something like that. And you will find a couple of those, right? But that can be done later. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a summary. Have you used a summary example before? Summary. What happens is you use it to, it's similar to the single choice, but you use it to build steps towards a final kind of conclusion, or you use it to go through steps with students through a process. It's really nice. Like this one here is opening a bank account. So it's a summary. So here it's quite simple looking here. So choose a correct statement from the four for opening a bank account. So you gather your personal identification and documents. That's good, 1 of 5. Next, I'd say go to research different banks and their account options. And then you visit the library to borrow some books. Oh, shoot, no, it didn't work. Visit the bank. So really, you're kind of punishing them. You're not really kind of punishing them, but they're learning as they go. They should already know some of this. And also I have to mention these quiz or question types should be accompanied by pre-reading, video, audio, or whatever. They should be bundled in through a course presentation, column, interactive book. Okay, they should be part of one of those. Unless you have a different teaching style, that's okay. And the next one is provide your proof of address and employment, and then deposit the minimum account required. So there you go. And there's a good example of a summary question. So we're going to make one of those as well. And the cool thing about that one is AI took care. I just said opening a bank account, the steps. I want 5 steps, and it made the steps, but also put all those distractors and bundled them in order, and indicated to H5P which is correct and which is not correct. So the next one after that is fishing in Lake Erie, which isn't as bad as it was when I was a kid, but this is drag the words example. Now you can make this. You know how hard these are to make, right? When you're making them for your instructional development. This was ultra simple. And I think this is really going to be one of the strengths. If you come up to this and like, think it's like Friday at 2 and you want to get to the happy hour at 5:30, and you have a couple of these to make, you might want to try this technique. So basically it's fishing in Lake Erie is a popular activity. Let's see. Did it? No, sorry, it didn't go in. Oh, I'm bad at this. It's got to be blue. Abundant morning, of course. And there's a lot of after use holes. Okay, so in this one, it's a drag and drop for sure. And that's great. And you see here, that gives you the feedback here, but also you can code in with that extra information I was showing you earlier. They get this feedback list with feedback that is relevant to that answer. You can also have a feedback just for the whole quiz, but I've coded it. I told AI ChatGPT to code it so it gives them individual lines. So that's really good feedback. So you can generate that. And then there's the last one here. Boy, I'm slow here. I'm sorry about this, guys. This is basically, the question set or the quiz in H5P. So it's a series of questions. Sadly, the way it's set up with ChatGPT, you can't have anything other than multiple choice questions with this technique. And if you try anything else, you'll see what I mean. It's because the way the form, at one point, the form just has a wall and the code from ChatGPT won't go beyond that. So essentially, it's just basically like this. I didn't even say which actors, I just said celebrities, Canadian celebrities. And it went pretty current here with the questions and the options. And so you can also apply feedback here and also tips for all of these extra information. Okay, so that's the sandbox. So you'll see what we're going to be doing. So the essentials that you need are a generative chat tool, your prompt, the code that you've produced, and a quiz creator. So today it's H5P. Next week, it'll be a couple different things. Okay? And this is our demonstration. We're going to go through this right now. All right. So I have my ChatGPT. At this point, I'm just going to be using the latest version. I think this is a paid version. I'm not sure. This is your handout, right? So we've gone through all of this. This menu works if you want to click and jump to things. There's another handout next week exactly like this, but with different content, of course. So let's go to the first one. And here is our prompt. Oh, shoot, I should have taken off of this. Pardon me. This prompt says, create an H5P quiz with 10 multiple choice questions about the Great Lakes at a CLB4 level. So I'm just going to paste this into ChatGPT. Okay. And run it. Submit it. And this is what comes out. Okay, questions? Isn't this beautiful though, right? If you want to use this for paper quiz or set up some sort of PDF and chunk them around, it comes up with nice factual things. Of course, you would check all the facts and all the questions, and that's what it looks like. But when I copy this, so down here you have the copy icon, I copy it, and then I go into, okay. Yep. When I go into the, similar to your screen. So I go to the content bank. And I wanted to make a question set, so a quiz. And when you get into there, I'll put a title in, test 679, 8, whatever, doesn't matter. And so here we are here, and here is the add a question and all that kind of stuff here. But I'm going to click on text tool, and I'm going to paste the feedback or the output from ChatGPT. Okay, and I'm going to click on save. And this is the kind of gobbledygook answer that I showed earlier. So there's no result for you. Is that clear? Is that okay? All right. So there's an explanation here, folks. There's the example. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're gonna just go through this process here. We're going to open an AI tool, ChatGPT. We're going to put in a prompt, and then ignore this now. Next week we'll need this. Copy the. You're going to get the output. Copy it into a word processor. This week we don't need that, but next week we will. Then you're going to open H5P, paste the code into, it's going to generate a code, paste the code into the H5P text like we saw, and it will generate a quiz. So we're going to do it like this, okay? But we have to make sure that we tell it to generate a code, not like the previous one. So for the single choice set, if you want to see again, you click on here and that will take you back to that course and show you for the single choice set example. Here, it just reminds you that you can put a single choice set into a course presentation, interactive video, column, interactive book, H5P activities. So after you've made all these individual ones, you can place them into or add them to these more powerful H5P tools. So you go to your AI chatbot, and for this one here, we're just going to use this. We're going to use this code or this prompt. This is our prompt. You can see it on your screen, right? But I'm going to drop it in here, and I'm going to submit it. And you notice here it says CSS, cascading style sheets, and copy code. Please don't worry about this. It's just copy code. You don't have to care. Like when I go on my car, I know that when I start it, it's going to generally work. I don't really have to care what kind of engine it is and what kind of fuel or electricity I use, as long as I know it's going to run. So it's run its course, and you'll see it looks similar to like English, the standard language. If you click on copy the code, that's what you need. That's the trick, okay? And then we're going to go back to the content bank here. And we're going to add a single choice set in H5P. So I went and added a single choice set. I don't care what the title is at the moment. I could go through the forms like normal, but that would take forever. So I click on textual, and I click here, paste. Now, you have to be aware, sometimes when it's VBNet, a couple of the things, they add this sort of top line that looks like code. Just delete that, okay? Because it'll try to be a question. And at the bottom, if you see any dots or any sort of weird artifacts, just delete them, okay? Just to keep it tight. So it should just be something like this. And then without doing any of the default, anything else like behavioral settings and all that, I'm going to click on save. And here is your single choice set. Did you see how fast that was? Bonnie, I just want to hear what you said, because it looks like you're yelling at the screen.
Oh, are you not sharing the screen again, or is it something I'm doing? I don't see the screen.
Cheyenne will
The
tell
screen
you.
is there. No, the screen is
it.
there.
Yeah, I can see it too.
Well,
Okay, Bonnie.
It's fine for me.
You know what I used to do?
Yep.
I used to hit the side of the TV set, and eventually channel 7 would come in. Can you, like, maybe it's a window that's fallen behind another window?
Oh,
or-
yeah.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I could see your frustration there. It's a good thing you had your video on. I thought you were calling me a really bad name. That's okay. So here's your single choice set.
disappeared.
What's one of the most popular activities for tourists visiting Niagara Falls? Going on a boat tour to see the falls close up. Up close. Okay. So do you see it came with a result? Okay, so that's a single choice set. So the key here is you put in the prompt and you copy the code. But then it gets more complex here. So that's a lot of verbiage here, right? So let's break that down. And you see here. And just be aware that every time you generate, it will not come up with the exact same quiz or the exact same set of questions. So it's always like going to be slightly different. So when I said CLB, when I said Cepher B1 level, just be aware here that this is the Cepher and the CLB comparison chart that's on your handout. I use that all the time. I never ever use CLBs. And I know that Johnny's lurking in the background there, and I'm just wondering if he's cracked that code yet, but I know it's something that sooner or later will be cracked. I know that the Rashi, which we'll be talking about in the next webinar, that's one of its probably primary tasks beyond making all sorts of fantastic options for you. So we did that. We clicked on these are the steps that we just followed. So they're all there when you want to try this later on. Now, the prompt here, it was quite complex. It was 9 parts. So there's a task type, create a multiple choice quiz. You gave them the topic, language level, the number of questions. Each question should have 4 choices. The structure of each question, this is dictated kind of by H5P, right? The questions on the first line, correct answers on the second line, and all the other distractors are on the following lines. And that's how it knows what's the question, what's the answer, and what are the distractors, right? For the single choice set. And then I don't want to see A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4. No more labeling, because when I first started experimenting with this, it was putting up all these really weird things, right? So if you tell it not to do something, it's really good. It kind of listens to you. And then this is a key, output should be in code. Okay, if you're complex and you know what code you wish, say VB code or VBNet code, sorry. And then I also put a purpose in here. Output will be pasted into another tool that expects this specific format. So the ChatGPT knows I'm serious. So this is that broken down into different things, right? Into this breaks it down here. So you can compare later on. All right, so that's our first one. Now let's go to the next one, which is summary. Remember the one that builds up to either like a conclusion or you can use it to have students make a series of steps. So the example is here. It can be used in course presentation, interactive video, column, interactive book types. So essentially here is our prompt, and I'm going to go into ChatGPT, and we're going to try this again. I'm going to put it in. So create a series of steps to open a bank account, write it as 5 statements, but for each of the statements, also create 3 incorrect statements so that the reader is challenged to find the 5 statements. Use this format. Write the correct statement on the first line and add 3 distractor statements on the next 3 lines. Use an empty line to separate sets of statements. Do not add any labels, formatting, numbering, or no empty line below the correct statement. Output answer as code. So it's kind of similar to what we just did, right? And here she goes. Well, I've never seen Python before. Anyway, so basically it's working through, and there's your 5 steps. So I'm just like, Avenue developer guy. I'm just going to click. I'm going to say I trust it so far. I'm going to click on copy code. Then I'm going to go back into my content bank, and this is an H5P summary. So I'm going to go add in my content bank. This is so good that you guys know H5P a bit. Click on summary. And now it's kind of like hopefully might be robotic for you. And you can manually change the introductory text, but remember here is the form-based default. Going to click on textual and paste. I'm going to look for any sort of weird things at the top. Nothing there. Nothing at the bottom. Well, that's pretty clean. So cross fingers and click on save. And here we go. So you see that we have 5 statements, and we'll try to get the first one here. So it will be gather the document. So you see, we've already seen this one. So do you see how structured this is? You create a prompt hopefully based on what I'm giving you, and then you put it into ChatGPT. You generate it, click save code, open up the specific kind of H5P tool, and go to textual and paste in the text area, and hopefully you'll have your H5P learning object. Okay, I'm gonna no, I'm gonna keep going. Gotta keep going. So all the steps are here for you folks on the handout. And here's the next one. H5P drag the words. This is such a common thing. It's not the best for accessibility. However, it's very common for teachers when they start making H5Ps to use this type, drag the words, and fill in the blanks. That's next week. So in drag the words, this is one of the ones that it can be used everywhere like the other ones. You drag a text word into a blank, right? And then when you're looking at the content bank for drag the word, we're going to do this backwards. We're going to go to H5P first. Add. Drag the words, not drag and drop, but drag the words. Okay. So they're getting a little slow. Okay, so in here, we'll put a title, it doesn't matter. And here, you can change this if you wish, drag the words into the correct boxes. But remember I told you here, sometimes it says here, it says show instructions. So this is where you get that extra information that you can add to your prompt. So the first 2 prompts we put were basically just give me some questions and make sure one's right, make sure the other ones aren't. But here you can add a tip, and then you can have feedback. Remember we saw the feedback on this one before, where each question had feedback, whether it was correct or incorrect. I learned that down here, right there. So I have to tell ChatGPT for each a correct answer and distractor or incorrect answer, incorrect option, put some feedback, right? But you don't make it. ChatGPT generates that for you as well as actually presenting it, which is nice. And then in this one here, just to be safe, I found this really, really helpful. I actually put this in the prompt, the example. So don't be afraid of overusing words or characters in ChatGPT. Just throw a whole bunch of instructions at it and see how it works, right? It might not work the first or second time, but it will work eventually. So I just basically copied this and put it into the prompt, sort of. Okay, let's go back to our. So this note is in the handout. So we're going to make a drag and drop. But we're going to also include the instructions for the feedback and give it an example of what we really wanted to do. So I'm going to go to ChatGPT and add this prompt. It's on your handout, of course, right? So create an H5P drag the words task about fishing in Lake Erie, include 3 paragraphs, and 3 to 7 droppables per paragraph. So I give ChatGPT a random sort of set. They can have 3, 4, or 5, so it's not always consistent. Add explanations. Here's the format you need to follow. So a colon for front of droppable words. Anyway, so I go on and go on, and then I go down here and I put that actual example, use backslash plus for correct and backslash negative for incorrect feedback. So I put all this in, and then I put the actual example and I run it through. This might be a good thing to think about if you're using, say, Moodle or something like that, when questions have different options possibly. So this one comes in VB.NET code, means nothing to you. It's done. So all we do as Avenue developers is we click on copy code. And then we go back to we drag the words H5P editor. And in here, it's a very simple looking box, right? So if I go here and I paste all that code in, I look up, there's nothing up top that's crazy. There's nothing on the bottom. And you see that all through these little backslashes and pluses and minuses are there. And I click on save. And here you go. It's so nice and clean. It's beautiful, right? So I'm going to do a really hack job here of getting a fishing. Okay, so if I click on that, check, you'll see that you get the students get the feedback down here, which I think is really important. Okie dokie. So that's that result. And let's try one more. The next one is, all the steps are there. All the steps are there. Is a question set. So if you want to do a bunch of traditional multiple choice questions in a question set, this is how we do it. The example, of course, is there. Here is our prompt. Create a multiple choice quiz about the Canadian famous celebrities. Wow. Okay, I'll have to fix that one up. About Canadian famous celebrities. 4 questions with 4 alternatives per question. For each potential answer, add oh my God, I can't even write. Add a blank about each answer to help the students. I must have hacked this morning, sorry. Output the questions with the question on the first line, the correct alternative on the next line with an asterisk in front of it, and distractors on the following lines. Suffix each potential answer with a colon to provide a tip. So that just means put a colon in front of the ones that you want to provide a tip. And then ChatGPT actually generates the tip. You don't generate the actual English or the tip itself. No formatting and all that. I guess you got to clean that one up, guys. I really am sorry. So I'll put the answer as code. And then I was playing around with this one this morning, so I think I didn't do us any favors. So I'm going to add a question set. Do most of you do question sets by nodding your heads? Like, do you do question sets, or do you just go straight into the course presentation and the interactive book? Anyway, I use this a lot, this one. And here we are again. This is for question set. I go from the forms to the text input. Oh, sorry. I got to put it in ChatGPT first. Got it, run it. Hope I didn't screw it up for you guys. So all of this is coming out of ChatGPT's brain. And you wait till the code is developed, you copy it. Then you paste it. In here, you look for sort of weird artifacts on the top and the bottom. There's none. And then you save it and generate it. And there it is. And in this case here, I put Columns to provide tips. And I think these tips are a bit too much. They're a bit too strong. So this would really help students, this one. Oh, well, it's my heart will go on. Oh, she's one of the best. Oh, the last time it gave me a tip, it said she wrote my heart will go on. So anyway, so the tips are here. You can change these if you wish. And you can move forward with this with tips, and you can also have feedback. And there's the steps for you. Okay. So we're at the end, actually. So I'm open to questions, comments, hate mail, whatever you guys got.
Yeah, I had a question.
Sure.
It's Robin.
Hi, Robin.
Yeah, so for the PBLA, where it's not just questions based on knowledge, but if we're doing a reading activity, so we could just copy that into the prompt, like the paragraph that we want the questions based on, and then ChatGPT would generate the questions based on that reading text. Is that how it works?
Well, good thing you mentioned that. Next week, we might even have to have a part 3. But I was going to do one where I had a reading text and generate questions off of that. That's actually a natural thing. I thought we would just stop here for the first one, just to get the mechanics of how it works.
Yeah.
So I would say, I'm going to write this down because I have no memory. I'll start the next one with, I don't know, question set from a reading. Is that okay?
Yeah, that'd be great.
One of the things that I'm going to show next week also is kind of cool. Actually, well, Johnny must be just like flipping here, because he actually has done this already. But I'm going to do one that you can use Google Forms, and you can input a PDF, a video, text, and all that to generate Google Forms that are actually quizzes. So there's all sorts of stuff and options right out there. So I'm going to show a couple of those. And yeah.
And then
So
I guess
there are
for
options.
listening, you would have to input the transcript if you're going to put in an audio, attach an audio file.
Yeah, I'm thinking that Google has a translator that will do that for you, but it's probably easier to put it into Microsoft Word and just have it transcribed. Yeah. But there's all sorts of different ways to do different things. But yes, so what you're asking is absolutely right. In reality, you'll give it a few paragraphs, or you'll give it an image to look at, or you'll give it some media of some sort, and then it will generate that content. Then you can take this stuff and practically put it into some H5P or Moodle quizzes and stuff like that. Yes. So I'm just trying to get people to think, give them a little bit of skill, and take these where they need to do it with their jobs.
I have a question if nobody has a question.
Okay. Hi, Bonnie.
First of all, I find this is going to save a lot of time. I've kind of avoided using H5P in Avenue for the reason is it was so time consuming. And I have been using Roshi a lot. Thank you, Johnny, for my H5Ps. I just have a criticism here. Even with ChatGPT, I've used it to create questions for listening texts and readings. And I find when I'm creating multiple choice that the distractors are always really bad. That I spend a heck of a lot of time after editing distractors. I don't know if you have a solution for that, but it's very time consuming. I mean, everything gets cranked out really, really quickly, as it will in code too, but then I have to go back, like you say, and check things. And sometimes I think, oh, my students are going to be able to do this without even doing the reading.
I totally agree with you. I've had that experience on 2 projects, and yes, a lot of time, like with the books, we just gave up. We totally gave up. And that was one of it wasn't just the book generation, it was also the questions were just unusable in a lot of cases. So I agree. I don't have a solution. Somebody else might have a solution.
Oh, okay. So
But not
this is
me.
just a little more disconcerting at the higher levels.
Yeah.
I think it's not as problematic at the lower levels. Okay, so it's just wondering if
But
you,
really, that's our job, right? If we're
Mhm.
instructional developers, instructional designers, that's part of our skill set.
Mhm.
So you just gotta be prepared to go in and be critical of every single distractor, for sure. I agree. Sophie, you had your hands up next.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, first of all, what you just showed us is a game changer for H5P. Like I had never looked at the textual, so thank you so much.
Oh no, you're welcome. It
Um,
wasn't me. I just found all this stuff on the internet.
yeah, but
It's like
you did the
hunting for
research for
Bitcoin,
us.
but poor
Yeah.
guy's Bitcoin.
Yeah, no, you did the research for us, so that's a game changer. About what Bonnie said, I had the same problem with so ChatGPT giving, silly answers that even a kid could guess. So I tried in the prompt to, when it says something silly, I prompt again and I put no, the answer shouldn't be guessable too easily or something. Sometimes it helps. It's not 100%, but it is better. If you put as a prompt, you shouldn't be able to guess the answer without reading the text. So it could help. It's not 100% perfect, but it is a help. I was wondering, now I had 2 questions for you, John. We have our wonderful Robin here in the audience. She's also in my team in the CCLB, but the Francophone part, so CNCLC. And she's a Moodle expert. Now she's digitizing what a Francophone writer. So I was wondering, is creating. So I was wondering if we could put in ChatGPT what the writer, wanted. Like sometimes she said, oh, I want 10 questions and I want a drop-down menu, or, and then ask ChatGPT to code it. So it would be easier for Robin then to do this. Like, could you give it already the answers, question and answer, and then say, please put it to code?
Yeah.
Have you tried it? Would it work?
No, I'm pretty sure that's something that's done all the time. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And then
Well,
also
Robin,
whatever script you needed and you specify, I think I said in one of them, well, maybe I took it out for today's webinar, but last webinar I ran, I put in the specific code types. Oh no, here I'll put the answer as VB netcode for the drag the words. So you can say CSS, whatever, right?
all right.
Python,
Okay. Yes. So
yeah.
okay, very good. Thank you. And second question, you keep talking about next week. I'm very intrigued. I haven't seen the link, or maybe I didn't
Oh
read
no,
properly
it's
the
in the
newsletter.
Avenue thing, but I can push it out to you guys. But if
If
you
you
look at,
don't mind putting it, yeah, I would be
can you see the
very
shared
interested.
screen now?
Yes.
So I'm going to talk about how to assemble these into an H5P column.
Yeah.
I'm going to do 2 Moodle quizzes from prompts, but you don't use the paste method. You use the import method. I'll show you that. I'll tell you one thing, man. I've been making a lot of quizzes lately, and I had to figure this out. That save a lot of time. We're going to talk about AI generators, which are the 2 I'm going to talk about are Rashi and Google Forms. and then some integration tools such as Quizlet and Kahoot, but those are really, really small potatoes. What happened to Cheyenne?
Thank you.
Anyway,
Could you put
that's next
the,
week. The link to that?
yes,
Yeah, okay.
please.
I'll see if I can put it into the
Thank you.
chat. Yeah. Okay, so the next person up is Johnny.
First of all, yeah, John, thank you for the great presentation. Thank you for the shout out. And also thanks, Bonnie, for the shout outs. I wanted to kind of give a quick response to her question, which was about the distraction not being good. So one thing that I found helps is to give an example. If you say, hey, make good distractors, like it should not be easy to guess. That does help sometimes, but I think so far the best solution I've found is to give it examples. So I would do, for example, like here's a text, and then here are some good questions based on that text. Now here's another text. Now can you generate some good questions based on that text? So if you give it an example of what good distractors are, it does much better than if you just say, give me good distractors.
That's fantastic. Thanks. Bonnie, any comment? Thanks, Johnny. That's it?
Yeah, I'll try that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much,
That's okay.
everyone. Are there any other questions?
No, thanks.
Okay.
Looking forward to next week.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
That was great.
Okay, thanks.